Welcome to this explainer, where we are jumping right into everything you need to know about keeping your New Hampshire LLC fully compliant and totally secure. You know, if you're doing business in the Granite State, you've probably spent a ton of time focusing on your products, your customers, and your bottom line. But today we're looking at the foundational paperwork that literally allows your business to legally exist and operate. Let me ask you something right out of the gate. Is your New Hampshire LLC actually safe? I know, it sounds like a dramatic question, but it's meant to highlight one of the most common and completely unseen risks that business owners face: ignoring state compliance. A lot of newly formed businesses view state paperwork as just a mere procedural formality, right? Like something you just brush off until you have some free time. Well, the state of New Hampshire treats it very differently, and overlooking this one single annual requirement can put absolutely everything you've built in immediate jeopardy. Because here's the reality: administrative neglect can literally paralyze your business overnight. When you fail to file your annual report, you lose your good standing status on the state's public registry. And banks, lenders, title companies, potential contracting partners, they routinely query this exact database. If they see you aren't in good standing, they can and will freeze your business bank accounts, halt loan approvals, and void critical contracts. You literally cannot legally transact business in the state without it. It's a massive operational risk, triggered by just a simple missed deadline. So, to make sure that never happens to you, here is our roadmap for today. 1. Why you must file. 2. A step-by-step filing guide. 3. Avoiding penalties and dissolution. 4. Fixing mistakes and finding help. And 5. A quick professional disclaimer. All right, let's jump straight into Section 1. Why you must file. First things first, notice what is conspicuously missing here. The New Hampshire LLC annual report has absolutely nothing to do with your taxes. Seriously, zero. It is purely an administrative filing. Its entire purpose is to update the state's Department of State, Corporations Division, with your active corporate structure, your registered office, and your management arrangement. It's just a regulatory mechanism meant for public transparency, entirely separate from your state or federal financial tax returns. I mean, the state doesn't even collect your employer identification number on this filing. And New Hampshire enforces a very rigid, evergreen compliance timeline for this update. So let's walk through it. Unlike other jurisdictions that might use the anniversary date of when you formed your company, New Hampshire uses a fixed window. The filing window opens on January 1st every single year. You then have until April 1st to meet the deadline. If you miss it, on April 2nd, your company is immediately marked as not in good standing, and if you ignore it for 2 consecutive years, you face administrative dissolution. Basically, the state shuts your LLC down. Now, there is one quick exception. If you formed your LLC between December 1st and April 1st, you actually get to skip the report for that very first partial year. As for the cost, well, budgeting for this is super straightforward. It's a flat $100. This is the standard state filing fee for both domestic and foreign LLCs registered in New Hampshire. Now, I highly recommend paying electronically, and if you do, state law does tack on a tiny $2 handling charge, bringing your total to $102. Honestly, it's a very small price to pay for the security of your business. Moving right along to Section 2, our step-by-step filing guide. Okay, first, you've got to choose your method. You basically have 3 available options provided by the Secretary of State. The digital NH Quick Start portal is overwhelmingly your best choice. It costs $102, but the processing time is immediate. If absolutely nothing has changed in your business since last year, you can use the one-click option within that same portal to bypass the data entry entirely. Pretty slick, right? Now, if you really, really prefer using paper checks, you can print a form and mail it in for a flat $100, but be warned, processing takes 1 to 3 weeks. For the sake of efficiency today, we're going to focus on the online method. Let's actually walk through this using a hypothetical business. We'll call it XYZ Enterprises. To start, the manager of XYZ Enterprises goes to the official NH Quick Start online portal and logs in. If they don't have an account yet, they just create a free one using an email address. Once they're authenticated, they look at the sidebar menu and select Business Services. From there, it's as simple as clicking Annual Report/Annual Fee/Nonprofit Report. The system will then prompt our manager to search for XYZ Enterprises. You have to be precise here, guys. Search using the exact legal business name. Or honestly, even better, use your unique 7-digit New Hampshire business ID, which is also known as your charter number. So, once XYZ Enterprises pops up, our manager clicks to file the report and starts the data entry. Step 1, verify the legal name and business ID are completely accurate. Step 2, confirm the principal office address. Step 3 is absolutely vital: verifying the registered agent. Remember, they must have a physical street address in New Hampshire. P.O. boxes are strictly prohibited for this role, though they're totally fine for your general mailing address. Finally, if XYZ Enterprises is member-managed, they have to list at least one member and their address. If it's manager-managed, they list at least one manager, along with their address and title. Once all that's verified, they pay the $102, save the receipt, and boom, they're done. Next up, Section 3, avoiding penalties and dissolution.
Listen, the state's penalties are structured, they're escalating, and they're highly punitive. On April 2nd, an immediate $50 late fee is tacked onto your account. Simultaneously, your entity is transitioned to not in good standing on the public registry. As we discussed earlier, this means you instantly lose the ability to legally transact business, which can disrupt everything from banking to professional license renewals. But it gets worse. If you fail to file for 2 consecutive years, the state will administratively dissolve your LLC on September 1st of that second year. Getting your business back up and running after dissolution requires a messy, multi-agency clearance process, and reinstatement fees range from $135 if done quickly, all the way up to a $500 late reinstatement fee. Trust me, maintaining continuous good standing is exponentially cheaper and easier than fixing a dissolved entity.
All right, moving into Section 4, fixing mistakes and finding help. So, when you are actually inside the NH Quick Start system filing your annual report, there are strict limits on what you can actually change. You can update your principal address, your mailing address, your registered agent, and the names and addresses of your managers or members. This report is basically perfect for logging those routine, day-to-day administrative changes. However, you cannot use the annual report to update your fundamental business purpose, your NAICS industry codes, or the actual legal name of your LLC. If you try to change those fundamental details in the annual report, the system simply won't let you, or the state will just outright reject it. To alter fundamental business details, like your LLC's legal name, you have to go through an entirely different legal procedure. You have to file a separate amendment document with the Secretary of State, which carries its own distinct filing fees and processing times. So, rule of thumb, keep the annual report for routine updates and use amendments for structural changes. Now, what if you hit a wall? Well, the state is actually pretty accessible. If you need personalized assistance straight from the source, here are the direct contact details for the New Hampshire Secretary of State's Corporations Division. You can obviously use the NH Quick Start portal for most issues, but if you need to speak to an actual human, call them at 603-271-3246. They're available Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And hey, if you absolutely insist on doing things the old-fashioned way and need a blank paper form emailed to you, you can request one at annualreports@sos.nh.gov. And finally, Section 5, our professional disclaimer. Just a quick reminder before we wrap up. While we always strive to provide the absolute most accurate and up-to-date information straight from the source material, state laws, filing fees, and administrative procedures are always subject to change by the legislature. The information provided in this explainer is strictly for educational purposes. Because every single business has unique circumstances, we highly recommend that you always consult with a qualified legal professional or compliance expert for guidance tailored to your specific situation. Well, we have covered a lot of ground today, right? From that rigid January to April filing window, to navigating the Quick Start portal, to avoiding the frankly devastating impacts of administrative dissolution. So I'm going to leave you with this final thought to consider today. Is your LLC truly protected? Or is a single missed April deadline putting your life's work at risk? Don't leave it to chance. Take 10 minutes today, log into the state portal, and ensure your compliance is up to date. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and here's to keeping your business safe, secure, and thriving in New Hampshire.